2025 was a very interesting year in the business. I'm going to share you exactly what I learned in running my content marketing business and what I'm going to take into 2026. So in 2025, there were definitely a lot of ups and downs, like a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners deal with throughout their journey. One of the things that I really learned, the consistency you need to have, not only posting content to attract new clients, but to retain clients. What I really started to realize and notice is that you're always selling, even if you close the contract. You want to keep good clients for the long run. You don't want to have a high churn rate, and you don't want to always have to deal with new problems. It's a lot easier to deal with the same people and try to help them figure out their actual real issue in the business. And for a lot of the businesses that we're working with, you can't keep one strategy the same throughout the whole partnership, because things are going to change. Things are going to evolve in the business. One issue could be that they don't have enough leads. But once they get those leads, how do they treat them? How do they deal with those leads? And that is another thing that I learned, was you need to be able to find a way to help them convert into business. Yes, your job is to make content, but what are you making the content for? You're making the content to help them convert more sales and more business. That's the whole point of it. So if you're not involved in that sales process, you might have them for a couple months, but it's not going to last a long time. And the ways that we've been able to retain business, because I'm not going to lie, there were a few months where they don't really want to work with us. Some clients didn't want to work with us because they weren't closing any sales. It wasn't anything that we did that wasn't bringing them leads, because they were getting leads, they were getting views, they were getting engagement on videos. There was a lot of adjusting to what the content needed to center around, and a lot of that we ended up realizing that the main thing we needed to really restructure was the offer that they're presenting, right? Like, for example, for this fence installation company, this landscaping company that we're working with, it's clear what they do. They do fence installation, they do landscaping. However, how is that presented to their audience? Especially when they're running ads too. And that made the biggest difference when we actually started to create the content and focused on, okay, what type of content are we making to sell? And what type of content are we making to nurture and build a relationship with the audience? And we need to really distinguish that, right? The thing with content, I've been in this game for, it's 2026 now. I started really back in like 2018, 2019, but as like a side hustle. I do this full time now. Content has evolved a lot. It changes all the time, the strategy. So yes, you can have one strategy for a month or two, or even for 3 months. Usually our strategy is for 3 months, but then you have to leave room to adjust, just to learn about the type of engagement that they're getting, the feedback that they're getting from clients, from prospects, so then you can adjust that to the content itself and really serve their needs and really find a way to own a problem in your niche. So then when people think about having that issue, they go to your company. When you're running a content marketing business, you need to treat the client that you're working with like if you invested in their company too. You can close them for a month worth of content, but if it brings them no type of results, and really the results, all that really matters again is the sales. Views and engagement is good, but if that doesn't turn into anything, what's the point of the content? You have to be really invested into your client to help them grow as much as possible. That's why we spent so much time in doing the research and the onboarding before we go and film and create content, because I need to know who you're targeting and what you're offering, because that could help us really center the content around that. It might sound cliche of another thing that I learned, but you really got to show up every single day. When you show up every single day, eventually something is going to give. And that's what I mentioned in the beginning, where you're not only selling to your prospects, you're selling to your current clients too. You want to end up retaining relationships. There was one company they were working with that they weren't getting many sales, and it's been a hard time getting people in the door. Our work ethic and our willingness to really try different creative strategies to help them bring more people to the door made them want to keep working with us, even though the results have not been where we want it to be. If I didn't post content, if I didn't post relatable stuff to them, because they're online too, they want to make sure they grow their business through social media. They want to see who else I'm working with, and who else and what other value that they can get out of my company, so they can like have an excuse to pay us to keep working with them. Another thing that I learned too was that you really got to have a community of people behind the brand and behind your message. Because if you don't have other people vouching for you, if you don't have people engaging with you, because the perception is everything on social media, and people, the number one thing they want to do is be entertained. So if we don't give them a way to help them feel welcomed and welcome them into a good experience with, my team or whatever company that we're working with, then we're going to lose their interest. Finding ways to collaborate, finding ways to have a community around you. And that's why I created the school group, because I want to make sure I build a community of storytellers and help as many businesses as possible scale with content the right way, the way that we've helped clients in 2025. And really just like this life of business and entrepreneurship is, and at any moment you can really hit a home run. So you can't get down on yourself because you didn't have a good day, because the next day could be completely different. You need to be able to show up every single day, whether that's with organic, with ads, with new offers. And one of the most important things that I realized in 2025 was not even my content, it was my offers and re-engaging my leads. Because I was able to close a few people with no fulfillment costs in December because I came up with an offer and re-engaged them through my CRM, through Go High Level. We're gonna get back to running ads, but I ended up realizing that there's almost no effort and no fulfillment costs for what I was selling, and I sold it for like $1,000, $2,000. Like the package is like a business profile setup, and it's going to be very valuable for them. I think that going into 2026, I understand that, man, following up with the current leads that you have is super, super important. Creating offers every single month for it. That is going to come first to me before even actually creating the content. Because yes, ads are going to help the company grow. However, with us restructuring the branding of it, and again, like, we want to make our brand contagious as possible, right? You see me wearing storyteller, you see the red around me, right? It's contagious, and people look at us, hey, I like your brand, I like your name. And that's just part of being contagious. We're also really restructuring who we're trying to work with, which is why I'm doing a lot of these one-time offers now. And then once we solidify exactly the type of demographic and audience we want to work with, which we already have an idea already, because I was working on that a lot in the end of 2025, then that's when we can start running ads, funneling the right people. To sum it all up, like, one, you can never not show up. You have to show up every single day. What you see on social media is 20% of what my life really is like every single day. Owning a business, it is tough, like months go by quick, the finances add up, and you have to pay your bills. You need to be able to really just hone in on the branding and the business and what you're actually trying to solve. And being in the content marketing game, things change over time, so you really gotta be in the loop with what's really working out there and try multiple different things. I think for me going into 2026 for Storytelling Media Team, we're trying to not only build a more collaborative approach, but obviously the discipline there and showing up every day, that's not gonna stop, because I did go through some couple months in 2025 where, damn, I feel like my clients didn't trust me anymore, but we were able to recircle that relationship because of like one thing. Like I kept following up in different ways, and I started to realize that too with re-engaging these one-time offers. But overall, trying to build more of a community of how you can change lives and how you can impact your business through storytelling and through our formula. So being relentless in the pursuit, follow up, the ability to collaborate and build a community, I know is going to help me reach the goals that I have on my vision board and make 2026 the best year Storytelling Media team has ever had.